Welcome to the How'd You Start podcast. I'm Nick Harrison here on episode 2 with Michael Billings. Thanks for coming on. What is the name of your business that you own?
It's Billings Lawn Care.
Okay.
Lawn care and lawn maintenance out of Lancaster, South Carolina.
So you have a full-time job now. This is the side hustle. You don't do this full-time.
No.
How long have you had your business?
Roughly 9-10 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's a long time.
It is.
What, have you been at the same full-time job the whole time?
I have.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What made you start the business originally? Why did you want to start your own business?
We've always had little hustles, on the side going. We were buying and selling used cars at one point in time. That kind of got old because everybody was doing it. You showing up to buy something and off Facebook and you standing in line. So kind of said, you know what, I'm going to buy a zero-turn lawnmower, start cutting some grass, make a little bit of money. So I bought a zero-turn lawnmower for $1,500. Made some business cards on Vistaprint, and if I rode around the neighborhood and I seen somebody's grass tall, I put a card on the mailbox. Got my foot in the door and started doing, some little odd and end stuff, and started making enough money where I could get some better equipment. And here in the last, I'd say 3 years, it's really skyrocketed. Got my foot in a community, so to speak, instead of going here to yonder. And
So before you were just doing one-off jobs.
yeah, just
All right, so
around town.
back up. You so kind of how you started. So you have always been in the side hustle game, not necessarily in the lawn care game, but meaning you and your wife together have been. Is that who you're referring to, or was your dad, or what do you mean?
It was me and another guy.
Okay.
We were doing it, and he's a full-time mechanic, so he knew the mechanicing part of it. I mean, we were buying stuff and with blowed motors and bad transmissions, and we're sitting out there on our backs getting these things going and running and detail them and
Flip them.
yeah, did pretty good.
And then, so you said you realized that everybody was doing it, so that's what made you want to stop doing it?
Yeah, and that, I mean, we really didn't have the time. He had a kid, and I had a kid, and just
Life.
yeah.
So you quit doing that. Did you immediately start mowing grass, or was there a little break in there where you just concentrated on the full time? Like you had your regular job, but then that was it?
No, we went straight into it.
Straight into that.
Yeah.
Did you, and why grass mowing?
I don't know. I like doing it, and I enjoy doing it, and it's just something I've always liked.
Just from what I see, it seems like a lot of people mow grass too.
Yeah.
So you stopped flipping cars because everybody was doing it.
Yeah.
But you're still mowing grass 10 years later, and even though everybody's doing it, you still have enough work to stay busy. There's enough to go around.
Yeah, the phone rings all the time.
Which, in fairness, more people have yards than need, everybody has grass that needs to be mowed.
Right.
So you got started, you bought the mower, you did the Vistaprint thing. Was that the only kind of, I guess, advertising that kickstarted your business?
Yeah, that was it.
You were just going around by hand putting cards on?
Putting out cards and then picking up good yards and good clients, and then they would refer, and then it just built up from there. And then I got in this community a few years ago with 1 yard, and I was like, man, and it's way out in the middle of nowhere. But I said, I'll give it a shot. And now we mow 30-something yards in that neighborhood. And then I got into doing the treatment portion of the business, and that's taken off really well too.
Did you have any experience mowing grass before you started, besides like at your, maybe growing up or personal, like you had you didn't work for a landscaper, no real, all right.
No.
Was your, going way back, why did you start side hustling to begin with? Like, was anybody in your family have their own business, or this is just like you just want to have extra money?
Yeah, just staying busy, make a little extra.
Yeah.
You know.
Did you, once you started cutting grass and, you know, you did the business cards, you got in this community, it kind of got going, you started the treatment stuff. At what point along the way did you make it a, quote, real business? Like, did you start off just, you know, Miss Betty's paying you cash?
Yeah.
And
yeah.
so when did it, like, transition to, like...
When I got into this neighborhood and these people's paying me, it ain't just mowing goes anymore. You know, you're doing the full-blown program. So you had to have insurance. You got to get licensed and tax ID number and all that good stuff. So
Was that hard to learn how to do, to know? Did you, you know, because some people that are maybe thinking about starting their own business, that might be difficult because they don't know how to start as far as making it legal, registering a business name, tax ID, keeping personal finances separate from, quote, business finances.
I mean, the accountant we have, they're very helpful. They give you all that information. They'll tell you what and when and where and who to call, and you know, and that's just pretty much how I did it. And then I know people that's got a business, and I ask them, hey, what you do, who you use, that type of stuff.
How do you stay busy, if at all, during the wintertime? Because you're in a business that is very seasonal.
Yeah, that's what everybody asks. But, you know, I'm doing these people's yards, so I give them a price, and they pay me the same amount of money January through December. So the money's coming in 12 months out of the year. I'll still go down. You know, I give them it's not a contract. I don't want to make anybody sign anything, but I tell them 8 to 9 months of mowing plus the treatments. So, and divide it up by 12, and that's what they pay me. I'll still go by through the winter. We still got treatments to do in the winter, but I'll still go through, edge out concrete, you know, blow, run over the yard, whatever we got to do, keep them looking up to par. So it don't stop.
Do you ever have a problem with people not wanting to pay in the wintertime because they don't see you as often and they don't physically see work getting done?
Not really.
Because you mentioned you're not making them sign a contract.
Yeah.
So they, you know, should understand the way the math works. You as a business are going to profit less in the summertime, but more in the wintertime. But they might see it as, oh, after November, you're not out here. Why am I still paying you the same as I was in July?
And I thought about that. And I used to, up until this past year, I was still going twice a month, doing whatever I had to do to show my face. And then this past year, I was like, you know what? I got in writing that I'm only going to be there for 8 or 9 months, weekly or biweekly, plus the treatments. So they know from the get-go that I shouldn't have to be out there monthly. But I do. I still go by at least once a month throughout the winter and just make an appearance. But no, nobody said anything. They still pay. I don't have no trouble.
Do you, now that you're 10 years in, I would consider you more established, right? Are you able to pick and choose more which yards you take on, or are you still in that phase where you're trying to grow it so you kind of take anything and everything?
No.
You're more picky?
Yeah.
I mean, because most time people starting out, from what I've noticed, they're going to take anything and everything they can get.
Right.
They want the quantity. They want as many yards as possible to get paid. But as you know, in other, not even in lawn mowing specifically, but other businesses, the value that, you know, you want high value customers over quantity of customers. So you might not want somebody that has nothing but crabgrass and weeds.
Yeah.
You want something that's a nicer yard.
And that's where I've gotten to, where I really just want the yards. I only want to mow yards that I maintain. I don't want, if you got a bunch of weeds, holes, and all that kind of stuff going on, I don't need that. You know what I mean? I'm trying to keep my stuff clean, and I don't want to be over here mowing the neighbor's yard full of weeds and then come over to your yard and spread that stuff. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But just trying to keep it maintained. And I mean, people call, and I'm not running across town to go get a yard. If I can't pull up and at least cut 2 or 3 it's not worth it to me working full time. You know what I mean? So I got to make it worth
Yeah.
the time.
So how do you juggle full time with that? So you're, I'm presumably like most people that work full time. It's nights, weekends, and holidays. Anytime you're off from your full time job is when the side business is going.
We only mow twice a week after work, 2 days a week. Get off at 4. We'll go cut 9, 10 yards after work. We're done about 3 hours, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So it's gotten to where we can knock them out. Got a good route. You got to set yourself a route and stay within that route, and that way you can be productive, I guess you'd say. You know?
And maximize the amount of money you're making.
Yeah.
To your point.
Right.
You're going to go to this neighborhood on a Tuesday, this neighborhood on a whatever. So 2 days a week. Do you want to get it to 5 days a week?
Not really.
Really?
Nah.
So is the goal kind of overall, do you want to work for yourself 100% one day? Or are you content doing what you're doing right now?
Right now it's pretty good. I mean, my wife's self-employed, so I hold the insurance and the benefits, and got a good job.
Yep.
Got a good position, you know, so I'm trying to hang in there. It's to the point where, yes, I could probably leave, but I'm trying to just make it work.
Have you ever thought about, have you ever sat down and thought about like proportionately, you make this amount of money for this many hours at your full-time job, and if you scale that down to 2 days a week and the amount of money you make mowing, is it the same or more? Roughly. I know
The side business probably makes more money than the full-time job.
For the amount of hour that,
Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's out there.
It's supplemental, at least, at the very minimum.
And you got, I mean, I could put 2 people to work today, and they could be working while I'm working, you know, but. You know how
Do you
that
want to do that one day? If you do, I guess what I'm trying to say is, back to my question a minute ago, if you ever grow it, would you ever consider growing it to where you just have employees and you're managing them, or hire someone that manages the business? That way you can still keep your full-time job.
Yeah.
You're not having to go work every single night swinging a weed eater,
Right.
but you're able to grow the business and the money on the side.
Yeah, that would be great.
That would probably take more work.
Yeah.
Putting trust in other people and
you know, some of these yards that I mow they're kind of sketchy. You know, more sliding, you got fences, you know, there's a lot of responsibilities. And I'm just worried, like, somebody just go down through there and just run through the fence, or rough on your equipment. You know, if you're out there maintaining it, you want to take care of it. That way when you get home, you get up tomorrow, it's ready to go. You're not out there working all night, you know, to get it back up to par. So I don't know. I mean, yeah, it'd be nice.
and it's your name attached to it.
Yeah, and I mean, this is a community, and all these communities got Facebook. So one bad apple,
It could be the best thing ever. It could
ruin
be
the
the worst
batch.
thing ever.
Yeah, so you know, right now they got a community forum, you know, their businesses on it or whatever, and just trying to keep it going like it's been going. It's been working out well, and we got it.
I've talked to other people that own businesses, and the same thing comes up. You don't want to grow too big too quick.
Yeah,
You got to, I mean, if you tomorrow all of a sudden had triple the amount of yards. No, that's a bad example. If tomorrow, if you had triple the amount of yards, you'd probably be fine, because instead of working 2 days a week, you would work 6. Let's say tomorrow you had 10 times the amount of yards. You would immediately have to hire people. Provided you're going to maintain your full-time job, you'd have to immediately hire people and then put all your trust into them while you're working your full-time job.
yeah. And right now, I kind of got it where I could handle it by myself if need be.
Okay.
You know, got guy helps, but and I'm appreciative of it. You know, it really helps me out a lot. But I could still maintain it if I had to by myself. But I mean, it would be a lot more work. It'd be more than 2 days a week, you know, for sure. But I kind of keep that in the back of my head, because, you know, you talk to all these guys with their own business, can't find help. You know, you get up to 100 yards or 150 yards, that's going to be tough to keep up. So
Is And again, since I'm making the podcast for people that are trying to start their own business, I'm trying to think of questions that they might have. How do you price yards? Do you have and what I mean is most people price yards not by the tenth of an acre, but by they look at it. Is it slopes? Is it a bunch of weed eating around trees, or is it a wide open field? But do you look at it and just kind of come up with a price on the spot, or do you look at it and say, hey, I think it'll take me this much time and I'd like to make this much per hour? Or how do you price it?
Well, when I first started, rule of thumb was $1 a minute.
Okay.
And that was kind of rule of thumb. Now it's kind of, what it should take, or charge that for that piece of property. And you got to figure out what other people's charging too, because you don't want to be out there cutting everybody's throat, and you don't want to be the high guy either.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So just base it off the revenue or what's, what other people's charging in the areas, what I kind of look at it. But in my time, time and equipment. And
do you ever have times where you're in a neighborhood mowing a yard and another company rolls up next to you to do the neighbor's yard, and their company appears to be 10 times bigger than yours, and you wonder how in the world, like, do you ever compare yourself to, like, if you see a big national company comes rolling up and doing the yard next to yours, and you're wondering how in the world are our prices the same, or are they the same, but you're in the same neighborhood, they're neighbors.
Yeah.
Like, does that stuff ever run through your head? Not really.
Not really.
You got your piece of the pie. You're doing your thing.
Yeah. I mean, and I know other people that's in business for themselves, and there's some that want to go out there and get all the equipment they can and all the work they can. And then I know some people that's got that same type of business, and they're good with just going out and making a certain amount of money a day with no overhead. You know what I mean? So you got to weigh out all those kind of options.
So speaking of that, so you bought the mower originally for $1,500. Where did it go from there? Meaning, like, over the years, when did you start to grow the equipment, get better equipment? Did you weight everything on profits? Did you wait and did you do a loan, or how did the equipment stuff grow?
Yeah. I mean, that one mower, I got rid of it because I had made enough money where I could go buy another lawnmower, and I ran it and it made enough money. I bought another one. So I've always kept a few pieces of machine, equipment. It gets so many hours on them. You want to turn them over while you can still make money off of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Sell it. And you're not making your
For
money
more
back.
than just scrap.
Yeah. So just turn them over, keep them maintained, keep them up, keep them clean, keep them running good, sell them, go buy a new one. I got to buy equipment because I write off taxes. I show taxes. So you got to have write-offs. And so you run a piece of equipment for a few years and then turn it. Most of these businesses, if you're just getting started, they'll do 0 down, 0% interest for 48 months. It makes its own payment. You know what I mean? So that's what I've done, in the past. And
You've never rented? Have you ever had to rent anything for like a one-off job, or ever done that kind of stuff?
I mean, maybe a trencher or something like that,
Yeah.
Nothing.
When did you realize it was time to get into the treatment stuff? Because you started off just mow, blow, and go.
Yeah. Well, you get out there and you're in these neighborhoods and it's HOAs. So if the customer's got a bunch of weeds and stuff in their yard, they get a letter. They got to keep them clean. So you got these big corporations out there, True Green, stuff like that, So why not get your license and you do it? You're already there. That's your customer. So and then you just put them a package together.
An upsell.
Yeah.
Kind of like a would you like fries with that?
Right. Yeah. So just go get it all,
How was there research and how'd you know what license to get, how to get it, where to get it?
Man, just talking to people.
Okay.
Just researching
Was that
and
hard?
talking.
Was that, I'm assuming, a test? And
Yeah, it ain't too bad. But
Okay.
yeah.
does it actually teach? Does it only teach you? most of the time tests like that are more of a legal thing rather than actually teaching you something. Does it teach you like what chemical to apply to what grass, what time of year, or does it teach you the legal stuff? If you spray it in this river, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's just more or less the legal standpoint of it. But
so how did you know what to spray, when to spray, or are you only doing Roundup on weeds?
no, we got a whole program we run.
How did you learn all that?
Just, I got friends in the business. They shed some light and helped me out.
Did you ever have a mess up that you had to learn from? Did you ever accidentally kill a yard or any? I mean, no.
I practice on my own.
Okay. Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I mean, I got some bad spots, but and you get, once you start buying your supplies and you get with a rep and you pick the phone up, shoot them a text, shoot them a picture. Hey, this is what I got going on, what I need. Boom, they give it to you. They tell you what to do. You know, it's pretty simple once you get out there and start talking.
Is
I mean, it's a lot though. I mean, it's a lot of.
Would you say that all of your revenue is in two buckets, grass mowing and treatment? Or is there other ways you make money? Do you do irrigation? Do you do hardscapes? Do you do shrubs?
Yeah.
Do you do, you know?
Everything. Do a lot of irrigation. A lot of irrigation repairs.
Okay.
Because, you know, this subdivision we're in, they got irrigation already there. Somebody's got to keep it up. Somebody's got to keep it maintained. You know, it's just figure it out as you go kind of thing. But
did you have to get a test for that?
no. I mean, if you was putting it in, you were going to put a backflow. Some counties, some states or whatever, they might want you to be certified to do the backflow. But like I say, all this stuff's already in. If anything, I might add a zone or something here and there, or just more or less repair and maintenance work.
Okay. How is your? I'm assuming this is all ran out of your house right now. You don't have a commercial shop, an office, or anything. What's your setup like? Is it open face trailer, enclosed trailer?
Yeah, when I started out, I just had old utility trailer that I always had. We used it and then bought another one with the racks and the cages and all that stuff. And then kind of run out of shed room, so I bought an enclosed trailer and used that for a long time. And that way it's secure, lock the door.
Out of the weather.
And, you know, that was real helpful. But now I just got one of those little cab over trucks, and that's real convenient. You know, you pull up, everything's right there. You're not towing a trailer and all that good stuff. You pull up, you got your truck, everything's there. I don't see myself doing without one of those now.
Really?
Yeah.
Gotten used to it.
Yeah.
And when you're done, you can just go inside with the keys in your pocket. You're not having to unhook a trailer so you can drive your truck the next day.
Yeah. Park it back in under a shed.
Right. As far as advertising, do you have your logo on the side or anything? Do you want to do that? Not really.
I mean, I don't really. Are
you still actively trying to advertise? Are you still doing the business cards on the mailboxes or any form of advertising at all?
No.
You have a website?
No.
Social media?
No.
Nothing. So you are fully word of mouth right now.
Right. And like I say, this area I'm in, they got that vendors list, and I'm on it. And
like a preferred vendors list.
Yeah. And they got all the businesses of companies that's in there doing work and that they've been happy with and got, you know, good success with. But we're on that, and then it's just word of mouth. I mean, it's just
how
it's been going.
I think you said it earlier. How many yards do you have right now?
Mow, around 40.
And of those, how many get treatment with it, mow and treatment?
30. And then I probably got another 60 or 70 just treatment yards.
Okay. Have you ever thought about trying to get the rest of them converted? So the remaining 10 that you're only mowing, not treatment, how do you get them on the treatment plan? And then the 60 or 70, how do you do the treatment and the mow?
Well, some of them,
and
a lot of those, they do their own mowing.
Okay.
A lot of them do their own mowing. And then there's some that's got people that mow, and I know those guys. So but they don't do the treatment. They just do the mowing. And I'll tell the client or the customer, I'm like, hey, you continue to let him mow, and I'll do the treatment. I'm not out here trying to take no business from anybody. You know what I mean? So it all works out. They mow, I'll treat. Everybody's making money. You know what I mean?
What would you say your piece of the pie would be? What revenue percent? Which one do you make more money on?
It's about tit for tat.
Because we talked about originally you started at $1 a minute.
Yeah.
Did that was pricing out just mowing though, right? So
Yeah.
I mean, treatment, you have chemicals involved. You know.
Yeah. I mean, you definitely make more money doing maintenance than the mowing.
Okay.
I mean, that's hands down. You can go treat a yard 4 or 5 minutes, where it's going to take you 15, 20 to mow it. You know, so you're easier to get more done.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Again, for people starting out, if they, besides buying a mower and a trailer and a weed eater, what are your ongoing costs? Does it cost you a ton of money to have this business? What is your overhead? Like what?
It's whatever you put into it. You know what I mean?
Is your stuff, I'm assuming, and again, I'm not in the mowing business, but insurance, mower, trailer, weed eater, blower, sprayer, if you're doing, you know, or a spreader, like for granular application. But is there anything crazy else that I'm missing that you would have to start this kind of business?
Not really. I mean, you know, what's the old saying? You got to crawl before you can walk.
Yeah.
So don't shoot out there trying to buy $50,000 worth of lawnmowers for 2 yards. You know what I mean? So that's why I just started and worked my way up. Now we got good equipment, you know, to run, and it works out, you know. But
same conversation came up on the last episode that I did, where it's like you do see some people that go out here and buy $100,000 worth of equipment and hope that the work comes.
Right.
Instead, let the equipment come to you. Get the work first.
Yeah, yeah.
Buy it as you need it, not as you want it. Some people want that $25,000 zero turn, but if the $1,500 one mows just as good, pocket the money.
Right, and that's what I would say. That's the way I would start.
Have you ever had any major screw ups, whether it's damage, financial regret, screw ups, anything, bad customer, was there any time that you've ever had a major screw up that you're like, man, that probably shouldn't have happened?
I mean, I've knocked some windows out.
Yeah.
I've had that happen, but.
Did it go okay? Did they come up wanting to break your neck, or did you just file insurance?
I told them. We turned in on insurance. I took care of it. You know, wasn't nothing.
Nothing crazy.
No hard feelings.
No major financial.
It didn't happen. I mean, I'm not going to knock on wood, you know, but not many. I mean, I run a chute blocker on there. If I see something crazy, I can shut it. And that way it don't sling nothing. But I've had some close calls. I was mowing this 1 yard one time, and the lady had a dog out there on a chain, and I didn't realize that chain was in that grass. And it grabbed it, and it's sucking the dog right towards the lawnmower, and that chain just wrapping. And I'm like, man, please stop. And I done cut them off, and that dog was getting closer and closer and closer. That would have been a rough one.
That would have been terrible.
That would have been terrible. But luckily the blades quit turning before the dog got there.
Yeah.
But that was probably the worst, if I had to guess.
Have you ever had any bad customers?
I mean, you
crazy stories from them? Ones that you're like, yeah, this will be the last time I ever show up here? That kind of bad?
Not that I really can recall. I mean,
any problems getting paid from customers?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
How do you handle that? If it gets severe enough where they're just not paying, have you ever had to
just start putting on the invoice, say you got, 30 days, or it's a 15% increase daily or something like that, but I've never had to really do that. I did have one. It was a commercial account. They got quite a few months behind. I just finally got in touch with the higher ups and was like, hey, I've been out here doing my part. You're not doing yours. So, and then I just got out of that one. They paid me. I left it alone. But most time, you're there as a homeowner. They see you out there. They come out, chit chat, But I don't have much trouble with that. I mean, I've taken on some yards and get out there and start mowing them and like, dang, I didn't bid this one enough, or
Yeah, that was going to be my next question.
wish I didn't get it.
What do you do in that case?
Just stick it out.
You just go for it. You just keep. Have you ever had to go back to the customer and be like, "Hey, I'm sorry, I need to either,"
Yeah, I mean, I'll write it out for that year. I gave them a price. I've never had nothing way off, but there's some I've like, dang, because you don't really, you can walk up and look at something, be like, oh, it ain't that bad, and then you get out there and you're sitting on a piece of equipment, be like, it's a lot more than what I anticipated. So I'll just make it work because I gave them a price. That's on me. When it's time to re-up for the next year, I'll be like, hey, I need to go up to this. And it's only happened a couple of times, but they're always understandable or whatever, and seen the work that was provided, and they go with it. But I don't never.
So separately from the ones that you underbid, just in general, do you have customers that leave at the end of the year once you tell them the next year's price?
No.
If, do you have, is it normal / regular that you have customers leave?
No, not really.
And the ones that you do they ever give you a reason why?
No,
I mean, it's never nothing bad. It's like they're moving or something.
Like I say, when I first started, I was just here and there bouncing all over town. Well, them ones that were like I call a single yard, where I was just pulling up to one, mowing it, I got rid of all those. I just kept where I pull up and cut them, mowing multiples. And I told them, hey, before the time came, I let them know the end of this season, I'm going to have to let you go if you want to start finding somebody else or whatever. And I tell them, where I'm trying to run things, and they're all understandable. But no.
So opposite of really bad customers, have you ever had one that was just super great? It sounds like most of them are good, just in general.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And even running your own business sounds like things are fun and good. But was there ever one day that was like, man, this is anything crazy good that happened one-off?
Yeah, you get some cash, some good
tips,
good cash tips, and some good. I got a lot of good customers, and Christmas comes, they're all throwing you bonuses and stuff like that. So I got some good ones, but when I go, if they come out, I'll spend a couple minutes and talk with them, and we'll catch up or whatever, and I think that really helps.
Yeah, you're turning customers into friends, not turning friends into customers, and you're just trying to be personable. Like you're not. It's not like, hey, I'll leave the check under the doormat and you never see him for 6 years.
Yeah,
and
and I'm not perfect, but I'm particular, so I want to give them a good product. At the end of the day, they come out and like, dang, it looks good. So, and I think that helps out a lot too. I'm not out there just trying to run through it fast as I can to get to the next one. We try to
do a good job.
And I see a lot of guys, they just run through them. I want to have the stripes and I
look nice.
Yeah, just give them a good product.
Does when you pay people to help you, are they quote bought in with that? Do they do a good job? They go slow. I mean, nobody's going to ever do anything like you would do it.
Yeah.
Do they?
Yeah.
You're not struggling with them throwing weed eaters down. They're taking care of everything.
Yeah.
Have you ever had customers ask you for something? Okay, so let's say you have a customer, they're on a mowing and a treatment plan. Mm-hmm. And they're like, hey, can you also, while you're here, do X, Y, Z? Whether it's trim shrubs, do mulch and all that. We talked about that a little bit earlier. But have you ever had them ask you to do something that you cannot do or will not do? And if so, do you refer them to somebody that does that? Or do you just say, hey, I'm sorry, I don't?
Yeah. I mean, all the time. Like, for instance, somebody wants some sod laid or something like that, a big sod job or pine needles or mulch or something, we can't get to. I'll tell them I'll take care of it and I'll sub it out.
Okay, so you'll still take the job.
Yeah.
And then
I'll
sub
quote
it.
it, and,
Yep.
and then I'll have some other guys go do that for me, or whatever. Or if it's something like a hardscape job or something, I'll say, call this guy. You know what I mean? I try to refer them to this guy, and then they refer back. So it all works out.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it happens.
Did you ever, one of the reasons I started this podcast was for people that were wanting to start a business that are scared to do that. Did you ever have that? Were you ever scared of like making the leap, so to speak, or not really since you were side hustling before?
Yeah, I mean, it's always.
And if so, why
thought.
were you scared?
You know,
what was the reason? Losing money, or was it family? Like, what was the?
It's just, I mean, you're gonna try to start a business.
It just
You
sounds
got to think about
intimidating.
it. Yeah, for sure. But it's what you put into it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you go all in 100%, you'll be fine. I could, but it's working.
Yeah.
You know, it's been working like this, and
Yeah.
I just got to learn how to say no to people
Really?
that won't quotes and stuff. Just
Would you say you're at a point where that's the problems you're having?
yeah,
You're getting more potential customers than that you're willing to take?
yeah.
That's a good problem to have. Most people want to have that problem.
Yeah,
Most people, it's the other way around. They're trying to get customers that they can't get.
And I mean, for instance, the other day, we were out mowing this yard, and I really don't like to turn them down when it's a neighbor. You're already sitting
yeah.
there, you know. This guy, he come out and asked me about cutting his yard, but it was just slope. I said, man, I hate it. I'm not interested in it. I'll do your treatments, but I'm not interested in the mowing. I said, that yard, it's going to be tough. You know, so I just tell them straight up.
What if you just price it accordingly? Or you just don't, you're conscious.
I just worry they're going to bite, and I don't really want,
Yeah.
to fool with it. And I just tell them straight up, I'm not capable, we're not, I'm capable, but I'm just not interested, something along that line. But.
So you might have kind of answered. I was going to ask you if you had advice for people that are scared to start their own business, but it sounds like your advice would be you get out of it what you put into it.
Right.
Really.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want it bad enough,
You'll
go
get
for it, and you'll get it.
Yeah.
Especially, 10 years, that's pretty good. Like a lot of people don't, you hear a lot of, again, of the people I know, and this is just me, a lot of people's side hustles is mowing grass, but they're not 10 years in. They're 2 years, right?
I really, what got me into it was we had a child, had to pay for daycare. I said, I'm going to start doing this just to pay daycare. And that's the way it started. And then it just kept going and going and going and going. And
here you are.
it's still going. So.
All right. Well, I would offer to plug your website or your social media, but you don't have it. So
No.
I guess we're done with episode 2. If you're listening or watching, if you're watching on YouTube, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you're listening, give this a 5-star review on your podcast player. Thanks for listening. Appreciate your time.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Good to go.